Hello there, it's Nina here at Walla Stamping. I just want to say hi to all of my newsletter family and thank you for being a part of Walla Stamping. So I have this project that I want to share with you, and rather than doing a printed PDF tutorial, I've decided to do a video tutorial for this project today. So I was in my craft room and looking around for a project to make and share with you, and I was kind of stumped, to be honest. And then I have this little tube of lipstick that my daughter Ella had given to me, and I keep it in my craft room because whenever I do a video and show my face, I have to have some color on my lips. So I keep it in my craft room for that very reason. And when I saw it sitting on my table, I thought, oh, this will be a great product to make a box for. Great idea for a Mother's Day gift or a birthday gift, any kind of gift-giving occasion. If you have a female in your life that you like to give cosmetics to, this is a great idea for you. So I've kept this basically simple by using just basic black cardstock. I didn't want a lot of patterns going on to conflict or take over the look of this package because I wanted the lipstick inside to really show up. So let me sit this over to the side for a minute and show you everything that we're going to be using today to make this project. So I'm starting out again, of course, with my basic black cardstock. This is cut to 3 1/4 by 7 1/2. I have a couple smaller pieces of basic black, and these are some weird measurements. It's 1 15/16 by 2 3/16. Then I've got just a scrap piece of some Whisper White here. This is actually 2 3/4 by 2. It doesn't have to be exactly that size. That's just a scrap that I grabbed. I have a piece of window sheet. This is 4 7/8 by 3 1/8. Then a couple strips of fresh floral designer series paper. These are 5 1/2 by 3/4 of an inch. Now I've got a couple of stamp sets I'm going to be using today. One is the Touches of Texture. When I first became a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I stayed clear of these background stamps because I wasn't quite sure what to do with them. But this Touches of Texture is one that I got a little while back, and I love it because since I've started becoming a better crafter and a better stamper, I've realized that a lot of this background texture stamping is great for projects, especially if you want to make your own designer series paper. I love these kind of stamps for that reason. Now, I've got a Good Day stamp set. This stamp set is actually in the Occasions catalog. I love this stamp set. I will have to tell you that Occasions catalog will be expiring on May the 31st, and that may sound like a long way away right now, but in actuality it's not, because having been a part of Occasions and Celebration last year, I know that as time grows down to the end, some of the more popular items such as this stamp set will actually sell out before the Occasions catalog expires. So if this is a stamp set that you feel like you're interested in, get your order placed sooner rather than later so that you won't miss out on the opportunity to have this one. Now, the reason why that I like it so much is because it is a great stamp set to use year-round. So I just really wanted to highlight this stamp set with you today so that if it is something you feel like you want, you can take advantage of getting that before time runs out. Got a couple of inks today, Powder Pink and my basic black Archival. I'm going to be using my classic label punch and my 3/4 inch punch, probably some Fast Views, some mini Stampin' Dimensionals, and I think that's just about it. So let's go ahead and get started putting this project together. First thing that we want to do is our scoring. So I'm going to start out with the base of my box, and I'm going to put my paper in so the 7 1/2 is across my ruler at the top. We're going to score this at 1 inch, at 6, and at 7. And I'm just going to turn it a quarter turn to my left, and I'm going to score at 1 inch, flip it around to the opposite side, and score that at 1 inch again. So that's all the scoring on that. Now these couple of small pieces of basic black, very simple, score at 1/2 of an inch on all 4 sides. And lastly, we're going to do our window sheet. I'm going to put it in my Simply Scored so that the 3 1/8 is across the top at the ruler. I'm going to score this at 1 inch. And I'll tell you, this window sheet is fantabulous. I love using it. It's very thick and rigid and sturdy, and it makes creating a project with a window in it absolutely just a breeze. So I've scored that a couple of times, and we'll fold it in just a minute. So that's all of our scoring. Let's just go ahead and get all of our score lines folded and burnished. Get that out of the way. The next step, I want to show you how to make sure that you get your 3/4 inch hole punched in the center of these 2 little pieces. So I'm going to zoom in here, and as you can see, there's a score line here and here. Well, these 2 are 1 1/4 inches apart. Half of that is 5/8. So I'm just going to make a mark right there at 5/8. Then I'm going to turn my paper this way, line my ruler up with that score line there, and then also line it up with that score line that I just made. These 2 are 1 inch apart, so half of that is 1/2 of an inch. So I'm going to go ahead and make a little cross or a plus sign right there in the center. Now I'm going to use my 3/4 inch punch, and I have to tell you guys, I use this punch so much for so many different projects. It's just, I had no idea when I got this punch that I would use it as much as I do. So if this punch is not in your arsenal of tools, you've got to get it either on your wish list or put it in your next order. So what I've done here is I've just lined that cross or plus mark right up in the center of the hole in my punch. Just going to punch that out. See how easy this punch makes this job. So now we have those 2 circles punched in the exact same spot in the center of this paper. So while I have this in my hand, let's go ahead and prepare these. So we've got our score line here and here. What I'm going to do is just take my scissors and cut it just a slight little angle right there. Do the same thing on this one right here, and I'm just coming up to where both of these score lines cross each other. Then I'm going to turn my paper a 1/4 turn, cut at an angle right there, cutting away that corner. Cut here, turn, cut away that corner, cut at an angle here, turn, cut away that corner, and then finally we'll end up back where we started. And when you do, this is what you're going to have. So do the second one just the same way. So we have those prepped. Let's go ahead and get our box together. So if you can tell, there are 2 score lines up here. This is the top of our box. Now the only thing we're going to cut away is this rectangle and this rectangle. So let's go ahead and flip that around. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up this vertical score line. I'm going to go all the way and stop at my second horizontal score line. Do the same thing on this side. I'm going to fold that back out of my way. I'm going to snip off those 2 little rectangles right there and there. Then I'm going to come in and cut a couple little wedges out of both of these tabs. All right, so I've got those done. Now I'm going to open this up, and this rectangle right here, I want to cut a small little wedge out of that as well. Then let's flip it to the bottom, cut straight up both of these vertical score lines, stopping at the horizontal. Move that out of the way, and we'll cut a little wedge out of both of these tabs too. All right, so our box is prepped. Our insert is prepped, and our window sheet is ready to go. Let's go ahead and put this box together. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my fast fuse, and I'm going to put a couple pieces on both of these tabs that will be the bottom of my box. Okay, gonna go ahead and flip this over. Don't let those pieces get stuck down to your work surface. Put a strip of adhesive right along the outside edge there. Do y'all see that? it keeps doing that. I don't know what that is. Then I'll run another strip right over here along this edge. Okay, so that is done. I'm going to set that to the side for the moment. Go ahead and take these little pieces and we're going to put adhesive on all of these tabs all the way around. All right, got that done. Now bring in the window sheet. And as you may have guessed, this looks kind of like a square, but it's actually a slight rectangle. One side is 1 1/4 inch, the other side is 1 inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line my window sheet up on my grid paper here, and I'm going to use the lines on my grid paper to make sure that I have everything lined up and centered. It will make it easier for me to get this put into place. So I'm going to kind of fold those down out of my way just a little bit, fold these pieces in and hold my basic black cardstock. I'm going to take my 1 1/4 inch side. I'm going to line my cut edge up with the cut edge of my window sheet. Make sure that I have that in the center, left to right, and get that stuck down. Then I'm going to make sure that I line up the cut edge of my cardstock and my window sheet on this side, and the same thing on this side. Now I like to take my bone folder once I get that stuck into place and just run that over those tabs to make sure that it is going to stick to my window sheet. I'm going to do the exact same thing with my other piece. Okay, so we have those stuck in place. Now we can get this put into our box. So again, the one that does not have adhesive is going to be the top. I'm going to take this and lay it inside of my box here. And before I adhere anything in place, I'm going to make sure that all of the edges of my window sheet or acetate, whichever you want to call it, is lined up with all of the score lines going around my box. So on both sides, now it's going to be slightly short on the top. That is on purpose. So basically I'm concentrating more on lining it up with this score line and the two sides rather than the top. So get that lined up. Then I'm going to take this side here and I'm going to press that into place where that adhesive is. Then I'll take this tab that has adhesive on it and fold that in. Bring this one up on the other side, stick that to the other side of my window sheet, tuck in that tab, then bring this bottom tab into place. So there is our box already put together. See how simple that is? Now we want to put our bands around the outside. I'm going to go ahead and get this tucked in so that it'll be out of my way while I'm doing this. Take my Fresh Florals strip. I'm going to flip it over on the back and line up my cut edge on the left-hand side with the left-hand corner of my box. Then I'm just going to go around, just curving this paper around every corner and giving it a gentle pinch so that it knows where I want it to go. When I come around the back, as you can see, this piece is slightly short, and that is okay. It's on purpose. So I'm going to go ahead and just use snail for this. You can use whatever adhesive you like. You can use your Fast Fuse or your tear and tape. I wouldn't necessarily recommend liquid adhesive right now because you're going to have to hold it too long to get that to stay in place. So I'm going to make sure that I have that first fold, turn my box over, line that first crease up right there, and make sure that your short side is the first side you stick down. Then just go all the way around your box, lining the top edge of your DSP up with the top edge of your box. Then when you come around to the back, get that lined up. So I'm going to do that again on this other end. Now we have our box completed except for the ribbon and the sentiment. Let's go ahead and get the sentiment made. This is where I'll be using my basic black and my powder pink, and I know that my basic black ink pad looks horrible, but I've had that thing for 2 years and I just don't see any reason to replace it just because it looks bad. It still works wonderfully. So I'm going to go ahead and get my inking done. Now you can either stamp this full strength or you can stamp it once and stamp it off a second time to make it lighter. The choice is yours. Going to stamp Hello Friend here, but let's go ahead and stamp it again on the one that we stamped off. So here are the two images. This is the full strength. This is the second generation or the second stamp that I did. Now you can make the choice which color you like the best, the one that is a little bolder and brighter or the one that is softer. I think either one would be fine, but I'm going to go with the full strength. And you'll notice that my paper doesn't match or go all the way across my punch, and that's okay because I don't need it to be that wide. All right, we're going to put our ribbon on next. So I'm going to take my powder pink ribbon, and I can't remember now off the top of my head if this is the finely woven ribbon or if it is the classic weave ribbon. I'll have the name of it on the screen for you as well as in the list of supplies. Now I've got this piece cut to just about 14 inches. Let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to lay this out. I'm going to take some of my snail and put some down just kind of in the center area, about a 2.5 inch strip. So here's the front of my box. I'm going to flip it to the right because I want the knot to be on the left. And I'm going to lay my box down right in the center of where I have that snail. Make sure that it's in the center of my DSP and wrap that around this box. This makes it easier to tie a bow or a knot or whatever you end up doing because it kind of holds it in place for you while you're doing your tying. So I'm going to attempt to do a square knot, and y'all know I don't do well tying bows and knots and all that stuff. So maybe, yeah, look at that. It actually turned out nice for me. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is grab a couple of glue dots, and you can leave these tails long if you want. You can cut them off short, whatever you want to do. I'm going to leave mine long. I'm going to take a couple glue dots and put one probably about an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom of both tails of this ribbon. Then I'm going to use those glue dots to put my ribbon where I want it to go and stay. So that makes that stay in place. It's beautiful from the front, it's beautiful from the side. I'm going to use my mini Stampin' Dimensionals now. I'm going to take 3 of them and just line those up right across this ribbon. Take the adhesive backing off of those. Then I'm going to take my sentiment, get that centered up from left to right, top to bottom, and stick that on. Now, it's too big, right? Well, we're going to fix that. Just going to flip my box over, get my ribbon out of the way, and I'm just going to eyeball it and snip that off right there, even with the edge of that box. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to take my lipstick out of this box, and let me show you how this works. So I'm going to pop my lid open. The reason I'm not gluing that down is so that whenever you give it to someone, they can get in and out of this box easily. Now, I have got just the slightest little dab of adhesive down here. You can use some snail or glue dot or whatever you want. The reason that I'm doing that is because there is the name of this printed on the front of the tube, and I don't want it inside the box moving around. Let me shake that into place. I want that title of this product to be facing the outside. So that little bitty bit of adhesive will keep your lipstick from twisting or turning inside of the box. So there we have it. What a fun and beautiful way to give someone a lipstick or a lip gloss as a gift. So let me just remind you about the A Good Day stamp set and the Occasions catalog. It's coming to a close May the 31st, so if you like this stamp set, make sure you get it on your order. If there are any products you've seen me use today that you want to get for yourself, I will have a link to my online store down below this video that you can just click on and go shop. And if you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure that you go ahead and subscribe. That way, whenever I have other tutorials that I post there, you're not going to miss any of them. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please be sure to send me an email. The address is nina@wallastamping.com. I love, love, love when I hear from you guys. And this is an exclusive tutorial. I will not be posting this anywhere else. All of the tutorials that I send to you guys are always exclusive only for you. So thank you for being a part of Walla Stamping, and I will talk to y'all soon.